Have you ever walked out of a dealership feeling, man, I just got worked over? Or like you'd been in a fight that you didn't know you were in and, oh yeah, you lost? Well, that's not by accident. That is all part of the plan. Hi, I'm Monty Scheller with the Bull Stops Here. And today I want to visit with you about the 5 tactics dealers are using to try to take more money out of your pocket and put into theirs. Right now, dealers are running a playbook, and that playbook is full of old tricks, new tricks, and some middle-aged tricks, let's say. But they're all designed for one thing, and that's to maximize their profit, put more money in their pocket. The FTC even tried to crack down on this, and right now it's all mangled up in court. So until then, what I'm planning to do is give you the information you need and the words to say in order to overcome these tactics used by these predatory dealers. Before we get into all the tactics, let me tell you who you're talking to. I've been in the car business for over 30 years, and I've spent time as a salesperson, as a finance manager, as a finance director, a new and used car sales manager, and even spent time as a general sales manager. So everything I tell you is based off of competition that I deal with on a daily basis, or customers that have come to me after they've been to my competing dealers. And I want you to be prepared for the next time you go shopping for your new vehicle. Now, 20 of those years I've spent right here at Four Stars Auto Ranch in Henrietta, Texas. And do you know why I've spent 20 years here? It's because these are the things that are forbidden at my store. You know, we are a fully transparent dealer. We have no hidden fees, we have no dealer ads, there's no addendums on the vehicles. Your trade-in value is actual cash value, meaning that's what we would provide you with cash if you were selling it to us. No inflated numbers, no inflated sales price, no inflated trade value, real deal numbers. And we provide that for you at the very first pencil. When we sit down to negotiate price or sit down to go over pricing, those are the figures you see up front. This is the sale price on my vehicle. This is what your trade is worth. Now, keep in mind on trade-ins, you can look at, there are all kinds of guides out there. There's Kelley Blue Book, there's Edmunds, there's dealer.com, there's all kinds of things that you can go out there and see about what your trade's worth. But that's exactly what they are. They're guides. Not one single one of these guides has actually seen your trade-in. So for them to be able to put an honest to the penny value on your trade without seeing it, it's impossible to do. So keep that in mind when you're trading your vehicle in. And these are some of the reasons why I can sit here today and provide you with the information in the playbook so that you can go out and feel confident about your next car purchase, is because we don't play by the same playbook. We're fully transparent, everything's on the up and up, and we don't play it. All right, let's go over tactic number 1. You find the perfect vehicle at a great price online. You even call and confirm the vehicle's still there. And you show up to the dealership and one of two things is gonna happen. Number 1, the vehicle's there, but it's $2,000 to $5,000 higher because they've got mandatory dealer ads on them. Or number 2, oh, the vehicle just sold, but I've got one just like it for just a little bit more. That's called bait and switch. You can overcome that. All you need to do, if you're not local to the dealer you're dealing with, call the dealership up front, ask for the salesperson, have the salesperson email you a breakdown of the numbers, sale price, tax, title, license, everything. You want to see everything up front, just the vehicle. Don't worry about the trade, don't worry about the financing. I just want to see a breakdown of the numbers on the vehicle that I'm interested in. When they do this, this should include any ads that they have. Then you can send it back to them and say, please remove this, or if you want them, keep them. But I will tell you, as a dealer, and I've got addendums in my office that we've taken off of dealer trades. The other dealers that we've traded vehicles with them, and they've got addendums on them, and they're way overpriced. So my encouragement to you is don't buy any of that mess, because you can get it cheaper elsewhere. So when they send you that, have them remove that off of there. Cross off what you don't want and say, now, please remove these charges and resend me those numbers. No trade-in, no finance. All I want to see is the breakdown of the numbers line by line on the vehicle that we're interested in. Tactic number 2, what monthly payment are you looking for? That's where they ask. That's one of the first questions they always ask. What monthly payment are you looking for? Once you've given them a number, then at that point, it's at their mercy whether you go 60 months, 72 months, or 84 months, or anything in between. They can stretch it out to maximize their profit. They can show you less for the trade, raise the price of the vehicle, raise the interest rate, fluff the payments, whatever they want to do to get to the payment that you're trying to accomplish. Now, with that being said, sometimes you've got to go the extended term to get to the payment you truly desire. But in most cases, if you do what we talk about in item number 3, tactic number 3, if you follow that rule, then this rule won't have anything to do with that. So all you want is the numbers on the vehicle you're buying. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Breakdown of line by line of the numbers. So that leads me into number 3. We got you a great rate. Well, that's great. Usually a great rate is marked up. Let's say the great rate was 6%, but they're showing you 8%. So therefore, they're getting a percentage of that 2% that they're putting in their pocket. It's profit. Now, I'm not against dealers making profit. Every business has to make a profit. I'm against the idea that customers don't know the information they need to know when they come in to buy a car. The more you know, the easier the process is when you get there for you, and believe it or not, even the salesperson. It makes everything smoother because if you know where you are and where you're at, and you know what you're looking for, and you have an idea of what that budget's going to be, then everything goes smooth. It's quicker. It makes it a whole lot less painful, and everybody's happy. So we got you a great rate. It may be great, but until they add their markup to it. So what I encourage my customers to do is this. If you have a bank or credit union you deal with, reach out to them. Call them up front. Tell them what you're wanting to do. I'm looking to buy this vehicle. You've already got the numbers. I'm looking to buy this new Silverado, and I'm going to be financing $50,000. And I need to know what rate I can get, what my term is, and what I need to do to get to X payment. Or just tell me what the payments are, whatever it is. You lock in your call, lock in your approval with your bank, or on my website, if you don't have a bank that you do business with a lot, if you don't buy a lot of vehicles or do a lot of transactions like that, we have on our website, we have a link that goes straight to Capital One. It's Capital One Auto Navigator. Now, I'm not a sponsor or spokesperson for Capital One, but what I will tell you is this. If nothing else, going to Capital One Auto Navigator and getting a pre-qualification will at least give you an idea of where you stand, okay? So every vehicle in my inventory you can pull up through Auto Navigator, and you can put it in there, and it'll tell you what the monthly payment is, what the interest rate is, and the term, required down payment, and anything that they require in order to process that loan. This is absolutely, that and talking to your local bank or credit union, that is absolutely the best way for you to make sure that you're getting the best rate that you can possibly get. Now, that's not to say the rate you're getting is the best rate, because then what you do is you take that information you have, the rate that you've gotten from your bank or credit union or even Capital One, you bring it to the dealership with the numbers you've already agreed to, and you have them try to beat that rate. Now, if they beat that rate and make a profit, then you still won, right? You still got, but they weren't going to give you that rate to begin with. They were going to give you as high a rate as they possibly could because you don't know any better. You don't know what you could get because you didn't shop it. You didn't get the information up front. So then, after you get that part figured out, then is when you introduce the trade-in. Okay? So if you introduce the trade-in up front, then they know they've got to adjust the pricing on the vehicle that they're showing you to allow them room to be able to overvalue the trade, because they're probably going to try to lowball you on your trade, and then they have room to give you more without really giving you more, if that makes sense, right? So let's just say, for instance, you go into the dealership and they tell you your trade-in's worth $10,000, when in real actual cash value, your trade-in's worth $12,000. If you haven't got an idea of what that trade-in's worth, now there are some online places like Carvana and CarMax and places like that that while those are good places to get bids from, they are also a different market. So Carvana has their pricing is when they sell their vehicle, the majority of their vehicles are sold. They control the financing. They make all the money on the financing. It's their financing arm, and they make all the profit on the vehicle. So their car's overpriced. They're making money on that, and they are making money on the finance end. And there's no salesperson to talk to. You're talking to somebody in who knows where, right? There's no belly-to-belly interaction, and there's no relationship there. So it's okay to get an idea from them what it is, but the hassle you go through just to get that transaction completed takes days. And it's just it's a situation where I feel like that while it's not a bad idea to get an idea, again, they've never seen your car, it's not a bad idea to get an idea, but keep in mind those values are based on a market that's a little different than the dealer you're dealing with, right? So when we appraise a trade-in, we give you actual cash value. And what that means is if you were to come in to sell us our car, now with that being said, there are some wholesale vehicles that come in, that are wrecked or have so much wrong with it that they're not worth keeping, or the miles are too high and we're just going to send them to the auction. Those are vehicles we wouldn't buy unless you were trading it in, but that's the only case. We don't look to buy those vehicles because there's really no benefit to us. All we're doing is we take all the risk. We take the risk of taking it to the auction and losing money on a situation where we didn't even get to sell a car. So there's no benefit there. But what we do on those, if you come in with a trade-in, even if it's a 2001 Pontiac Grand Prix or whatever, and it's got high miles and it's got whiskey dents on every corner and the headliner's falling down and transmission shifts rough, and if it's got all that, then what we're going to do, we're going to pull an auction report and base it off of an auction report. This is what they're bringing to the auction. This is kind of what we have to go by because that's what they're bringing, okay? So you understand that. That makes all the sense in the world, right? No one wants to overpay for a vehicle that has absolutely no value. So, but in any other circumstance, if you have an idea of what your trade's worth, then that gives you an idea when you go in of what to be looking for. Now, in the state of Texas, one of the great things about the state of Texas is you get charged sales tax on the difference, which is the selling price of the vehicle less your trade value. Doesn't matter, tax title license aren't included, payoffs not included. It's only the selling price of the vehicle less the trade-in value. So if you have a $50,000 truck and you have a $20,000 trade, you get taxed on 30%. On $30,000, 6.25% of $30,000. So keep in mind when you go to look at trade-in value, that has to be included in the value part of trade-in, right? Because it's actually discount that's coming off your bottom line. So when you go to, that's another benefit over selling your car to Carvana or one of these other places. You may get $30,000, or you may get $22,000 on that $20,000 trade, but is the tax savings enough to justify the hassle? Okay, is it enough to? And if it is, then by all means do it. I'm not here to. I'm not telling you don't sell your car to Carvana. If they're significantly better, then I'm all for you making the best deal you possibly can. And, at least you have that in your back pocket, right? But let the dealer know what you've been offered, There's the one thing that's hard for customers is, there's this old, the old way of doing business was you walk in the dealership on a Saturday morning and you spend all day battling back and forth to try to put a car deal together. And I get it, you want the best deal possible. And back then, that's pretty much what you had to do because everybody had their vehicle, everything just had a sticker price on it, and you negotiated down. Nothing was, you didn't go online, there was no internet. And the only thing you had was if it was in the newspaper and you saw it discounted, then obviously it had been discounted. But if you were just walking around on the lot and you saw a vehicle, all you saw was the sale price that was on the MSRP. You did not see any discounts or anything. And really back then, rebates were non-existent. So it's it's a different world now. So if everybody provides all the information they have up front, both the sales team, and that's what I'm talking about, is the transparency and being able to give you, look, here's your numbers, here's the price of the car, here's the breakdown of all the numbers, how we got to where we're at, then it makes the transaction and it makes the process so much smoother, so much easier, and everybody's happy, right? Okay, so the idea is to make sure that you have an idea of what your trade-in's for. Make sure you've discussed with your banker, your personal banker, or you've gone to the Capital One website and you've gotten a pre-qualification, so you have an idea of where you are as far as payments and trade value and all that. So, and finally, number 5, just sign here and take it home today. It's called a spot approval. Well, the banks are closed, it's after 5, or it's a Saturday, the banks are closed, there's nobody there, so just take it home today, and we'll figure everything out, and we'll get back with you tomorrow or on Monday, whichever. And the idea there is for the either if you do the spot delivery where they go ahead and have you sign paperwork, or even if they just dehorse you, the idea is if you take the vehicle home, you start to fall in love with the vehicle, you become attached to the vehicle, you show it off, you take it to church and everybody sees your new car, you're kind of proud of it. You get back and then the payment's higher than what you thought it was going to be, or what they told you it was going to be, or they require more down payment, or whatever the case may be. And you're kind of in a position where you have a choice to make. Well, I just showed everybody my new car that I told them I just bought, and now all of a sudden I'll show up next Sunday in my old car, and so do I save face and just do it? And the other thing too is you take it home, you fall in love with it, and then you're willing to pay more. You figure out a way to come up with more. I really love this vehicle. Okay, I'll pay the extra $40 or $50, or I'll put the extra $1,000 down, or whatever the case may be. That's the whole goal, because your time of test driving the vehicle when you're on the lot buying it is nowhere near the time that you spend overnight, or if you take it home for the evening, or take it home for the weekend, because you've gone to show people, what do you think? How do you like it? Yeah, I'm buying this from such and such in Wichita Falls, and then they've got to save. You've either got to save face, or you've just got to man up and bite the bullet and pay the extra. But that's how they get you. That's where they make more money. They have time to get you to fall in love, so you're more apt to say yes whenever that time comes. So if you're ever in a situation like that and they tell you to just sign here and we'll get everything wrapped up Monday or tomorrow, tell them, no, I don't want to take the vehicle until all the financing's finalized and everything's approved and I know everything's good to go. Don't ever take a vehicle. It's one thing to take it for a test drive. It's another thing to agree to numbers and tell them you'll be back tomorrow to sign contract. That's different. A test drive's one thing, but an agreement on numbers, and then you have to come back and they tell you it's higher, don't ever go for that. Just tell them you'll be back tomorrow or Monday and you'll finalize everything then. That way you put yourself in a position where you don't have to embarrass yourself in front of your friends because it came back and it just wasn't a deal. You really can't get into your financial situation with your friends, right? You don't want to get into all that with them. And you don't want to tell them, well, the payments were too high, or you just don't want to get into that. So to save all of that, you just make sure you just don't ever do it unless it's, like I said, a test drive is one thing. But if the numbers aren't finalized and the contract hasn't been, there isn't an approval, an actual approval, the loan hasn't been approved, then don't take the vehicle. That just ends poorly most of the time. So, in conclusion, the dealership playbook relies on inflated online pricing. And what I mean by that, they take the price, they put it online, and when you get there, it's higher. So inflated online to lot pricing, I guess is the best way to put it. Payment-based selling, because they can manipulate the numbers however they need to get you to the payment that you're wanting to be at. Number 3, interest rate markups. Have yourself a pre-qualification or an approved pre-approval before you even go into the dealership, so that way you know what you're working with and you have something to fall back on if they are unable to match or beat the rates you've got. Trade-in manipulation, it's a game, folks. It really is. It's all a game. All you're doing, the trade's worth what the trade's worth. The car, especially pre-owned vehicles, there's no limit to what they can price the car at. They can put a 73 Pinto out there and mark it up to $5,000, and just so they can over allow on a trade-in. Doesn't mean it's worth the extra $5,000, but they can price it however they want to. And maybe a sucker comes in, maybe they don't. But on a used vehicle, there's no rule that says you can't price. I mean, hell, even on new vehicles, you're going to dealerships nowadays and you're seeing addendums on there that have, $2,000 to $5,000 markup in them for all this cheap stuff that they're adding to it that you can buy for pennies on the dollar. And that's how they're able to overlap. If I've got $2,000 addendum on there that I paid, $295 for the stuff, then I got $1,700 that I can over allow on your trade and still be selling the car at sticker, right? So you just got to avoid that stuff. Number 5, spot delivery pressure. Don't go for that. Just don't. It always ends up poorly. And the one thing that happens most often is when you do fall for that, it's all fine and good the first month you have the vehicle. You love it. Man, I love this new vehicle. And the problem is month number 2, or when the first payments are starting, you have to start making the payments. Then it's when, it's really not that great of a car. I mean, it's a great car, but I didn't have to have that bigger screen, or I didn't have to have leather, or maybe I could have done okay with a double cab instead of a full crew cab, because I don't carry any kids. It's just me and my wife, and mainly just me. My wife rides with me every now and then. And so really, you didn't have to have the crew, you just wanted the crew. Or you didn't have to have leather, you just wanted leather. And so, but that payment, irregardless of how you feel about it, is still there. You're still going to be making that payment probably for the next 72 to 84 months in most cases. Keep me in mind if you're looking. Give me a call, shoot me a text, 940-235-9345. Let me show you how I make car, truck, and SUV buying easy and fun. And always remember, when you deal with Monty, the bull stops here.